Before we begin, don't forget to like and subscribe. Am I the a-hole for letting my son go to Disneyland? I have a 6-year-old son, Jake, and we're currently staying with my brother, his wife, and their daughter. Abby recently went through something really hard and traumatic. I feel for her with all my heart and am doing all I can to be there for her. During this time, Abby's become really close to Jake. It was sweet enough at first, and even though Jake isn't one to sit in one place for long, he didn't say anything and allows his cousin to cuddle and spend time with him. He does a lot for her and will wake her up when she takes naps for too long, will go out to the park with her to make sure she doesn't stay at home too long, etc. My SIL was extremely appreciative of this, and Abby seems to be happier when he's around. Of course, Abby is in therapy, so I didn't think she was dependent on my son to get her through the day. But a couple weeks ago, Jake's paternal grandparents wanted to take him to Disneyland for a couple days, and he was so excited. He kept telling everyone how much fun he was going to have and more. Abby didn't say much whenever he'd mentioned Disneyland, but my SIL asked me if he was actually going multiple times. I said yes. Why would I stop my son from going to Disneyland? She asked if his grandparents could take him on this trip another time, but I told her that wouldn't be possible. She was upset but stopped. The other day, his grandparents came to pick him up and he was sitting with Abby getting ready to go when she suddenly broke down crying. Jake got scared and started crying as well, so I separated them. They calmed down and Jake left for Disneyland some time later. My SIL was furious. She came up to me and was like, "So you really let him go?" I said yes. Again, why wouldn't I? She was all like, "You saw how my daughter reacted to him leaving and you're still confused?" Apparently, Abby really didn't want him to go and she cried because he was leaving. I told her that this was extremely unfair for her to say. My SIL said that I was being unfair and that Disneyland is not more important than her daughter's well-being. I never said this, but I told her that my son isn't her emotional support dog, and while I'm very sorry about Abby, it isn't fair to put my 6-year-old son's life on pause. He's 6. It ain't unfair for her to force my son to give up things for the comfort of his cousin. SIL called me heartless and said she wants me gone from the house before Jake gets back because she isn't putting Abby through this again. My brother intervened and told her that she's acting irrationally, but she told him to STFU. It's been really tense, and while I did attempt to apologize, SIL told me that the only apology she'd accept is one from Jake, but I'm not going to make him apologize, so AITA? I really don't think so, but Abby is genuinely upset about Jake leaving. Edit. I was repeating my SIL's words word for word, but giving her the benefit of the doubt. I believe she meant that the only apology she'd accept is one in the form of Jake. Not that it makes it any better, but I don't think she actually wants him to say, "I'm sorry." But I could be wrong as well. Either way, I wasn't going to apologize the way she wants me to. Am I the a-hole for neutering a cat that was clearly owned? I run a TNR program for feral cats. Non-profit, I catch all cats and get them the medical attention they need myself, out of my own pocket. I love helping them. A lot of the cats are not able to be rehomed, so I fix them and release them. Get them their shots and hope for the best. I am not a large-scale operation. Recently I was called to an area overrun with orange cats. They were everywhere and I mostly ended up handing it over to professionals. I did, however, manage to grab 3 very sweet cats. 2 were terrified, skinny, a little beaten up, but overall friendly. The third one was a little gent. He was tubby, well-groomed, fish-pattern collar, the works. My plan was to find his parents and drop him off with a warning to keep him in due to the large amount of traps being set. Then the little bastard sprayed the inside of my car to the freaking max. So, apparently, he wasn't fixed. I couldn't really tell and assumed he was, so left my covers off. Big mistake. I debated taking him home or taking him to get neutered with the rest. He was an indoor-outdoor cat, and with so many strays I'm certain some were carrying his genetics. Ultimately I took him with me and got him neutered. No chip, so I called the number on his tag and informed them where their cat was and gave them time slots to pick him up or have him dropped off. The owners went ballistic. They were cursing me out and came to collect their cat not 20 minutes later. Called me a kidnapper, blamed me for their child having nightmares. I tried to explain that he needed to be fixed if he was going to be outside, but they didn't want to know. They said I should have called immediately regardless. I spoke to my rescue friend who said I was in the wrong. Even though we know we are technically in the right, we didn't have the legal ground to do that and it wasn't my decision to make. I did apologize, but have blocked their numbers. I have a duty to care for stray cats. Me knowing an unneutered male was roaming free and not doing anything about it was a concern for said stray cats. Things are still tense between my rescue buddy and I don't completely disagree. I know I crossed the line even if it was for the greater good. People are finding out and taking sides, so I'm not sure who to really believe was right here. Am I the a-hole for telling my sister and her new husband that they're inconsiderate for only providing vegan options for the wedding? I and my sister have an okay relationship. It's not the best, but it's not the worst. She met a guy named Riley and they hit it off so well that he proposed to her 3 months after they started dating. Our parents thought it was too sudden, but they left them alone because they're grown and can make their own decisions. Anyway, my sister and Riley have decided to go vegan. Cool, don't really care. Only issue I have is that they try to incorporate it into nearly every conversation we have. They have somewhat boring personalities, so I guess they needed something to make their personality about, but it's okay. I was invited to their wedding and in GL, I had to think about it for a bit because I'm not too big on social gatherings, but it was my sister, so I decided to go. At the wedding, I had a fairly great time. Wasn't too bad. Got to talk to some new people and get out of my comfort zone a bit. The fun arrived to a complete stop when it was time to eat though. All the food was vegan. Things like bread, tofu salad. I don't even know, man. I wasn't the only one confused, but the guests still dug in. I wasn't a fan though. I confronted my sister and Riley and asked what was up with all the vegan food. They said they wanted to present a different lifestyle to the guests and joked about steering them away from meat. I was pretty disgusted in GL. That sounded rude. I snapped back and said if I did the same thing to you guys, but with meat, how would you react? Stop being so inconsiderate and learn to cater to your guests. She told me if I had a problem with it, then the door is to the left and I don't need to look back. I laughed and said there was no way she was kicking me out over me calling them out. She shrugged then walked away. Riley called me entitled and said I ruined what was supposed to be a special day. I sighed and left. That same night, I got a phone call from my dad that my sister was in tears. He told me I should have acted my age and focused on my sister and her new husband, not the food. My mom also texted that my behavior was shameful and that I wasn't raised to be judgmental of people's life choices. I immediately felt bad. I kept thinking about it. I couldn't sleep at night because I kept replaying the confrontation in my head. I was just sick of all this vegan crap being forced on me and I was hangry. AITA? Edit, holy, OFC, I don't eat meat every single day. I was just hungry and in the mood for some that day, and when I saw the food and it was all vegan and looked like shit, I noped out. Yeah, I could have reacted better, but I'm fucking tired of them always talking about being vegan and telling me I should try it out. Am I the a-hole for refusing to let my bridesmaid wear her dead mother's favorite color to my wedding? I was married to my amazing husband on Friday. The wedding went smoothly, apart from one guest's dress preference, who we'll call Anna. Anna's mother sadly passed away in January this year. Her mother was the light of her life, and ever since she passed, Anna has been understandably uptight and distant. I have helped Anna throughout her entire grieving time. We had been planning this wedding since December and decided we wanted an ocean-themed wedding. My family and I grew up on the seaside and have always been close to the ocean. I made it extremely clear to all of my bridesmaids that they were to wear blue, a coral pinky color, or pastel green. Everyone agreed and seemed to love my choices. Anna's mother always loved the color dark, vibrant purple. Ever since then, Anna would buy everything purple if there was a purple choice. Anna and me went for lunch a few weeks after the passing to catch up and support her. At the lunch, Anna asked me if she could please wear a purple dress to my wedding. I'm not crazy about themes usually, but since this wedding was themed to support my family's tradition and considering my maid of honor was already going to be wearing a gorgeous pastel blue dress with purple and gold accents, me and my husband, who I decided to call and discuss the idea with him, politely told her that we understand what she's going through, but we really want bridesmaids on theme. To this she looked hurt and left lunch earlier than expected. I hardly heard from Anna until around 4 weeks after our lunch, despite my attempts at texting, phoning, and even knocking on her door, but she'd continue to shut me off. That was until she texted me, "What do you think of these dresses?" and displayed many different purple dresses in photos. I kindly reminded Anna that she wouldn't be wearing a purple dress to my wedding. Anna was enraged. I tried to tell her that I understand her feelings, but my wedding is my own special day. To this she blocked me. Anna unblocked me 2 days later, apologizing for the way she acted. Well, when the wedding rolled around, Anna showed up in a purple dress. I asked her why she had gone against my wishes and that she either had to change or leave. To this she told me to stop creating a scene and that I was being dramatic and disrespectful. Anna broke out in a screaming match and called me and my family insensitive, selfish bastards. She was escorted out the door screaming. Once the wedding had ended, I received messages from Anna's family, friends, and even Anna. They were all saying how Anna was going through a lot and that I was being an asshole.